Hello again, MMA true believers. I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and with me is a man who makes his latest foray into the octagon on December 12th in what is likely the biggest spotlight moment yet in his 13-year career. On that night at UFC 256, he will face off with one of the most respected featherweights to ever do it in Uber vet Cub Swanson, and that man I speak of is the one they call the Pit, a.k.a. Daniel Pineda. Mr. Pitt, sir, thanks for the time before your next fight.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Now, I have a ton of questions, various topics, before the UFC, after, during the UFC, all this kind of stuff. Now, the first one I had to ask was last year, right before you were supposed to compete in the PFL Championship, unfortunate failed drug test. After you went through that, and the suspension that followed it, did part of you think that might put an end to any second chance you might get in the UFC, that after 6 years, bouncing around to different organizations to get back here to this kind of moment, that moment would be like a negative mark on your resume and make them be kind of like out of the Daniel Pineda business permanently?
Well, if you think about it, the way I went into PFL and finished both guys like that, I knew I would get another shot.
All right.
Because all this drug tests, all that's bullshit. Yeah, and I'm going to keep on saying it because they never told me what I had. So, bullshit. I'm just going to keep it like that. But I knew I would have another shot, especially taking out the main guys that they expected to win. And Palmer was next, but
yeah,
it happens.
Do you feel on some level like now, you know, because it's bullshit in your opinion and stuff like that, and they really haven't been clear on that, but there's still this idea that people know about that, people how that happened, it might form a narrative about you. Do you feel that now being for the second fight in the USADA pool and that kind of stuff, that it will further clear your reputation, maybe adding to the fact of how you feel is bullshit? Because look, I'm in the USADA pool, I'm getting tested all the time, I'm not getting any failures, so there you go.
Yeah, and I've been tested a lot. I've joined back with the UFC. I literally get tested. Oh, God bless.
Do you have a story yet of a horrible moment where they caught you at the wrong time to test you?
Nah, man. They just show up, and it does take forever to piss because, I mean, they just show up nowhere, you know, and I'm sitting in the restroom. They're like, you got to pee. I'm like, you're going to have to wait a little bit. But no, I mean, it's good, man. Everything's been going good, and I mean, I passed every single drug test they gave me.
You did really well with Herbert Burns in your UFC return fight. On the ground during your win against him in August, even dominating him from the top in the first round. You were a notable underdog in that fight, despite Herbert being the one that was actually coming in on short notice for that fight. Did fans and media, in your opinion, maybe overestimate his grappling and assumed he could dominate most anyone because of his background, his brother, his heritage, and that kind of thing? Or did folks and odds makers just underestimate you and your ground skills, or was it a bit of both?
Man, it was a little bit of both, man. I mean, Herbert is good. You know, he's a good jiu-jitsu guy, and everybody thought I was going to get submitted. You know, but, man, I know myself, man. I roll around with freaking dogs every day over here. You know, I got my brother. He's freaking feels like he's 200 pounds on top of me. You know, and I knew, man, that I don't think there's nobody in the world in my weight class that could just throw me around. There's not. Now, I might get knocked out one day. It might happen. But ain't nobody can freaking throw me around.
All right, fair enough. Now, 39 fights, 13 years to your career. Was that like the most important win of your career today? Because I asked that because of how things went in the PFL, so close to the million, and then everything went out. Having worked for so long, 6 years to get back to that moment, to beat a pretty good rising talent who was the favorite against you, was that night on August 15th in UFC Apex, was it a peak moment in your career that you really want to build off of?
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I'm happy when they gave me his name. When they said you're fighting Herbert, I was like, good. Yeah, so much hype.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Man, I always want somebody they have all this hype. I want people with hype. I want people that nobody really wanted to fight or doesn't want to fight at the time. I want to fight those people. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. Like, when I went to Bellator, the guy I asked for was Emmanuel Sanchez because he was the freaking coming up guy.
Yeah.
Even though I know I won that fight, I won 2 rounds out of the 3, whatever. I lost in a decision, but like that's what I'm saying. I'm always asking for the top guys. I want to test myself.
On the media day before your return fight, you said that this second run in the UFC is about making as much money as you can. Now, you have had a lot of success in your career, a lot of major organizations like you just mentioned, Bellator 1, talked about PFL before, Legacy Fighting, UFC the first time. However, would it be safe to say that despite all the work, all the sacrifice you put into this game, the sport has really not paid it back in terms of money, in terms of finances? And if you, let's say, had to retire today, like, you would have to go find another career to set up your future. Is that the kind of situation you're in, that's why the money making is so important the second time around?
Nah, man. There's one thing about me. I know how to take care of my money.
Oh, good.
In the UFC and all this organizations, I made my money. I know how to take care of them. If I were to retire right now, I'd be good.
All right. So then why is it about money? Is it just to live that much comfortably in retirement? Is it about that you have big goals, like you want to do big things after your career, like opening businesses or whatever, philanthropy? Like, if you're good and that you could retire now, why is it so important to make as much money as possible in this second time around?
Just in case anything happens to me, I want my daughter and my wife to be good. So I need to throw my body in there. I need to fight. I need to make this money. I just had my daughter. She's 6 months now. And I need to leave money for her. So that's why I'm trying to make as much money as I can. That's why I'm trying to make this run in the UFC, make it work, make it happen, and go out there, man. Like I said, man, every fight I get, I'm gonna bang. If I ain't gonna bang, I'm gonna finish them quick. It's gonna be fight of the night, submission of the night, one of them. I'm getting a goddamn bonus.
How does having a 6-month-old change preparation for a fight? Like, has it been different, or like a lot of spouses in this kind of game, that your wife's taking up the slack during camp and it's been pretty normal despite it all?
Nah, it's a lot harder. It's harder to get to the gym, man. And then at night it's hard to sleep. She's waking up, she's hungry. So I mean, it's a lot harder, man. But you find the time to train. When my wife's there, I take off the gym. Because she works. So
man.
I take care of the baby.
Yeah.
So, but man, I love it. I love taking care of the baby, man. I didn't want no kids. Now that I have a baby leaving. Now I got her, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Are you going from like the type of person that goes, I want no kids, to when are we gonna have another one?
I didn't want no kids.
Yeah.
That's 5, and I just had my first.
Yeah.
And now that I have my baby girl, now I'm like, I want a boy. Just have one boy, and then I'm done. If I could just have a boy on my next one, I'm done.
Yeah. All right, now, in what ways, going to this fight now, Cub Swanson, in what ways is Cub Swanson still, in your mind, as good as he's always been? Because, he's had like an interesting run in that he's had some really close loss to really good talent, but because 37 years old and 37 fights in, that's still a lot of wear and tear in the body, stuff like that. Do you feel he's just as good as he's always been, or in certain ways do you feel those things have taken its toll and he's slowed down a certain bit in certain areas?
Man, I think he's good. You know what I'm saying? And everybody has he has a 50-50 chance. I got a 50-50 chance on this fight. Don't win this fight. Man, somebody, he might catch me in the first freaking second, knock me out. You never know. So it's a puncher's chance. And I just think that I'm peaking at this age. You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting where I put everything together. I got the stand-up, I got the ground, I got the wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm just peaking right now. So this is my time. And Cub's good. Like I said, it's a 50-50 chance he can catch me. But if I take him where I want, and that's in the ground, I think I got, you know what I'm saying? Now he just went to an 80.
Yeah. And I think that's really the beauty of this sport. And it happens so many times. Guys like Jeremy Stevens, Robbie Lawler examples, guys that will have a ton of experience and they maybe, they there's just something that changes even in their 30s that they just take another step forward. And you're not that much younger than Cubs, but there does seem like if you look at your 2 points in your careers right now, you do clearly seem like the guy peaking, rising, while he just seems like he's kind of fading back a little bit. Do you feel there's a certain moment in your career, a certain moment in your life that things did switch? There was a change, like despite all the fights, you now would have just kicked the shit out of you like 3-4 years ago? Like, did something switch that has made this resurgence possible?
If I was the fighter I am right now in the first round in the UFC, I would have been in the top 10 already. Yeah, I'm a way different fighter. The way my teammates, the way we put it all together in the gym, I mean, we just put it all together, man. We were all young when I got in the UFC. We didn't know too much about, we just go in there, we start throwing down.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? When we stand up, all we did was stand up. Now we're putting everything together. We're standing up, we're wrestling, we're doing jiu-jitsu. And like I said, man, I just got a good team, and I've been here since I started, and now we're just getting it. We're just getting there where we're actually, all of us are getting good. The whole team's going to UFC now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting that, we're putting it all together.
Cub has always been a well-rounded grappler, but considering how you handled Herbert in that last fight, I could see him going and leaning on the striking that he has once again against you. Where in the stand-up do you need to be careful with him, and in what ways do you feel you could give him a bunch of trouble in striking?
Man, honestly, I haven't really stood up a lot in fights, you know what I'm saying, because I'm taking them down or I make them shoot in. Everybody thinks, he's just a wrestler, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, until I hit them. Once I hit them, then they turn into wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys. But I'm good with that because that's my world. That's where I want to be. So he's dangerous, man, on the wild punches. He has wild punches. He throws hard, and, he can catch me. Yeah. The goal is not to get caught. Don't get caught. Don't get hit.
Yeah.
And hit him.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, a lot of people will look at Cub Swanson's 2-4 record since 2017, feeling at 37, like I mentioned, he's on a big career decline. But while he may not be at the same peak he was 4 years ago, that record is pretty misleading. He was subbed by Ortega and Moicano. No shame in that. Went to decisions against Frankie Edgar and split decisions versus Shane Burgos. All-ranked guys, Moicano's really good. You are the favorite going into this fight. On some level, do you feel if you were to beat him, it may not get as much credit as it should, or it may not be that defining moment in the eyes of the UFC like it maybe should? Are you worried about that? Like, there's a narrative he's on the decline. Like, this win won't matter as much as it really should.
It's gonna matter because I'm not gonna beat him in a decision. I'm gonna. Okay. So that's the goal. Finish him. If I can finish him, then I'll get the respect.